Hello, Modern World History students. I want to introduce to you your lessons for this week. As you know, we always do 2 checkpoints a week. One is my lesson and the other is the summit checkpoint. And typically I use my lessons to help you, usually to give you more information or maybe to go over a particular skill, but it's meant to help you to complete one of the summit checkpoints. Okay, so let's go over this. I want you to, well, first I have a question for you. Do you have a job? What do you do if you have a job? How many hours per day do you work? What is your workplace like? If you don't currently work, I would just like you to think for your future. In the future, what type of job do you want? How many hours a day do you want to work? How many days a week? What kind of workplace do you want? Now imagine working 10-hour days, 6 days per week, making 45 cents per day. No time for studying or having fun. Sorting coal in dangerous, loud, and dirty conditions. You may actually lose your life just by going to work or get severely injured. That's what life was like for many children who worked in the coal mines during the Industrial Revolution. And I'm going to show you a picture here. They call them the Breaker Boys. They're kids that worked in the coal mines during the Industrial Revolution. Child labor was a common practice throughout much of the Industrial Revolution. Estimates show that over 50%, so over half of the workers in some British factories in the early 1800s were under the age of 14. In the United States, there were over 750,000 children under the age of 15 working in 1870. And you're going to learn throughout this lesson that there are some workers as young as 4. Imagine that, 4 years old. So I just happened to pick the example of the coal mines, but you're going to learn in the lesson there were workers in textile mills, working with making clothing and all throughout, in different factories. But I just picked the coal for a particular example. These children worked up to 14 to 16 hours per day. Imagine that. Just imagine that basically your whole day you're working and not in the nicest conditions at all. So our focus this week is on child labor during the Industrial Revolution. That's at least the piece that I'm focusing on for my lesson. So your learning target is I can describe the impact of the Industrial Revolution on child laborers. And this photograph is taken by a man by the name of Lewis Hine, and I gave the website if you'd like to look. And you're going to look at more photographs taken by him in this lesson. So I have this is a little bit different this week. I want you to do the explore section in this order. I want you to watch. So to learn about child labor during the Industrial Revolution, you will view several photographs taken in the early 1900s by Lewis Hine. He took pictures of children working in the United States. However, it still applies to the children working in England, because I know we're primarily talking about England in this summit project. Your job is to view them critically. So take your time. Don't just skim through the pictures really quickly. And in order for you to do that, I want you to look at this photograph analysis worksheet. So this is what you need to do anytime you're looking at a photograph, okay? So you want to meet the photo. What does that mean? I don't know why. It looks like my picture of me there is frozen. I'm not moving at all. So I don't know if you can see me there or not, but we'll keep going. So you want to quickly scan the photo, and what did you notice first? So you're going to click here. What applies here? Is there a caption? Yes or no? Observe its parts. List the people, objects, activities you see. Then write a 1-sentence summarizing this photo. Try to make sense of it. Answer the best as you can. Who took the photo? Where is it from? When is it from? What's happening at the time in history the photo was taken? Why was it taken? List evidence from the photo or knowledge about the photographer that led to your conclusion. Use it as historical evidence. What did you find out from this photo that you might not learn anywhere else? What other documents, photos, or historical evidence are you going to use to help you understand this event or topic? So I would like you to do this form for at least one of them, and for the others you can just sort of, you don't have to actually write it out, but just answer these questions to yourself. The whole idea is, and I say to break up a picture into 4 sections, 4 quadrants, divide it in half, and then also in half the other way, so you're not missing any key parts, things that could be important that you would miss if you were just skimming. So I want you to do that as you're looking at these different photos. And I just made the slideshow up, taking different pictures of child labor during this era. And like I said, they're pretty much all from Lewis Hine. So if you look through here, I don't want to show you all of them because I want you to do this on your own, but I want you to just really take your time. And I put the captions down at the bottom here too for you, so to give you a little more information, but I want you to look through those photos. That's the key part of this lesson. It's a photo analysis lesson. Then I want you to pick one of the photographs you just viewed in the slideshow and answer, what does this photograph tell you about child labor at the turn of the century? So turn of the century, we're talking about 1900. And to do that, you're going to go here on this, okay? And you're going to hit this, I don't know if you can see it, see this red button here, this pink button. You're going to click that, and then you'll type your response in, okay? Answering this question, what does this photograph tell you about child labor at the turn of the century? And remember, for that one, for the picture you pick, use that photograph analysis worksheet to guide your thinking. Then, after you do all of that, then I want you to read this overview by the History Channel on child labor. And as you're reading, take notes on the conditions they worked in, the hours they worked, their treatment by their bosses, by their employers. Also, what were the reasons, why did employers want to hire children in the first place? And why were children taking the jobs? Why were there so many kids even working at this point in history too? So those are things I want you to learn when you read this article here. And also, this is really good too if you want to watch this video. It's just a really short video on child labor as well. Okay? And what else? Okay, so then I want you to answer this question. What were the working conditions like for child laborers during the Industrial Revolution? Then I want you to take a brief quiz on what you learned about child labor. And then you're going to use the knowledge you gained in this lesson on child labor during the Industrial Revolution to help you complete the checkpoint. How did the Industrial Revolution impact the lives of the workers in England? You will be assessed on the cognitive skill of synthesizing multiple sources. And then you would highlight your sentence here that reflects, your self-assessment, and then answer this reflection. How much did you know about child labor during the Industrial Revolution before this lesson? So let's just go into this checkpoint here that you need to complete. So you should have last week completed my lesson on the causes of the Industrial Revolution, and then answered this checkpoint here about how did natural resources, new inventions, create the conditions for the Industrial Revolution to begin in England. So now this week you're going to do this lesson that I'm going over now, and then you're going to answer this. How did the Industrial Revolution impact the lives of workers in England? So right here, and this one's cool. You actually get a break from the typical argumentative paragraph. So this one, how did the Industrial Revolution impact the lives of workers in England? You're going to write a letter. It says, use examples from the document set to take on the perspective of a worker during the Industrial Revolution. Write a letter home to your family who still lives in the countryside, describing your life as a worker in a British industrial city. Your letter should address the supporting question about the impact of the Industrial Revolution on your life. You can be creative and be sure to use specific examples from the sources. So make sure you're specific. You don't want to just say, oh, my days are hard and long, I'm tired, and it's dangerous. Well, I need some specific examples from the sources on that, okay? So try to give me at least 2 or 3 specific pieces of evidence from the documents you read. And you're going to be graded on synthesizing multiple sources. And just to go back, remember, you're going to need to do the document set. And there's always a graphic organizer to help you too. So here, this is what you're reading. And this source A is really good here. It's just listen to this first paragraph here. I am 12 years of age. I went down to the pits. And if you're wondering what the pits are, look, the pits are the mines. About 7 years and a half to open the doors when the horses came. I was 12 hours a day and got 6d, which is pennies a day. When I was paid, I took it home to my mother. I once fell asleep and was well threshed by the driver. What's threshed? He was whipped. And then you can go on to read that. But these are really interesting. So they're not your typical kind of documents. I know sometimes they're a little dry, but these are really interesting. So, I go through and read these. And so there's an A, B. This one, C, is by Charles Dickens. He wrote my favorite Christmas story, which is A Christmas Carol. So, yeah, but he did a lot he didn't like what he saw with the changes that the Industrial Revolution brought to England, and he felt bad for the poor working class. So, yeah, read this here by him. Document D. And there's a document E. Okay, there you go. And make sure you're always reading don't just start reading the document. Look at the origin, what it says, where it's from. Then the context will help you too to explain like what was going on at the time and what the article's about. So make sure you do this, and then that'll help you with writing that letter, okay? My lesson will also help you as well. Mine focused specifically on child laborers, but those working conditions were awful for everybody, the grown-ups included. So, okay, so if you have any questions or concerns as you're working, you know where to find me. Make sure you stay on pace. You always have 2 checkpoints a week. My lesson and your summit one. All right, have a wonderful week.